Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews. This is a very special episode here. We have a gentleman who can only be with us very briefly. He's on the ground in Israel. He has an organization for those of you who have a heart for Israel and the Jewish people and would like to support them in their hour of need. David Silverman, tell us about your group.
Our group is working directly with Mafat, which is Israel's DDoD, together with some other hospitals and ground units over here, trying to get medical equipment, trying to get some, not ammunition, but more robotics over to the grounds over here to help our forces who are taking care of what needs to happen to secure the land. Right now, we're working to get a lot of medical equipment over for units on the ground, for hospitals, for Hatzalah, different people who are in need right now. And that is my calling. So we have some documents from Ministry of Health that I need to be procuring. And that's the situation.
Okay, so folks, so we're gonna have a link. What's the name of your organization and the website real quick?
We're Nets Venture, but AJ is my partner as well, and he'll send you over the correct links for this project.
Okay, well, David, we want to thank you so much for coming on the program today. It's an emergency situation. Obviously, you could only be here for a couple minutes. I want to say shalom to you, and the people of America, the evangelicals and Latter-day Saints are praying for Israel.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
Goodbye. So, AJ, I just want to thank you for setting that up. So we are waiting right now. We are waiting for Rabbi Lerner to come onto this Zoom call. Of course, he's on the front lines here, folks. And Rabbi Lerner is a very prominent rabbi in Israel, and he's was in charge of many organizations that are very well known. And he's actually tied in with the Jewish Agency for Israel is one of the groups. I talked with my friend Chris with the Christian Agency for Israel yesterday. You helped arrange that. We filmed that at a Christian University studio yesterday in Lakeland, Florida. Folks, I just want to introduce you to my friend AJ Levy, who we've been in touch for over a year. He actually got to know me. He found out about me based on my Mormon Stories interviews hosted by John DeLynn, and reached out to me, and we've become friends. And I told him, I said, I think our friendship was meant for such a time as this. AJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stephen, and it's been a pleasure to know you for the past year. Obviously, as you mentioned, your story on Mormon Stories is very inspiring, very inspirational story about faith, losing the faith, returning back to your faith, which is, I guess, how we connected. Yeah, here we are today. This is something which is very near and dear to my heart. There's many people, unfortunately, in this tragedy. Everybody that I know knows a friend or had a friend that was killed over the past weekend or injured. I have friends that are that were called up for reserve duty. People that are going, Americans that are going, flying in from Israel to flying into Israel to help out defending their country and the people. There's many, as you know, there's many Americans that were killed and are currently being held hostage in the Gaza Strip as we speak as well. So I am very glad to be here and to try to help whatever we can to raise awareness. We're going to be talking about some charities that we're working with, both raising money and equipment. We have we've everybody in my mutual business network. Everybody has put everything aside, and we're working probably on average about 16 to 18 hours a day, arranging logistics, equipment, flights, package delivery in Israel, in the U.S. To get things over to those that are in need, both soldiers on the front line, people that have been displaced from the Yishuvim, which are the settlements, and just from other, all the border areas which are on high alert. I'm sure you're aware as well that there's been rocket attacks in the north, and as well as obviously coming from the south. And the chances of unfortunately, for a larger outbreak of violence it's very, very high. The need for medical equipment is urgent, and yeah, that's really it. So really kind of what I've been doing. And we're here now. So thank you for having me, Steve.
Yeah, so of course you are based in Brooklyn, New York, and you are very much attached to the ultra-Orthodox community in many ways today. And you have been working your connections to basically, look, this is a united effort. Those of you who are secular Jews or religious Jews, those of you who are non-Jews who are secular, but also we have Christians and we have Latter-day Saints, and we have many people from different faith traditions that are coming together in one for Israel. This Monday night, I went to the Sarasota Auditorium in Sarasota, Florida, to a packed house, standing room only, with thousands of people. Many Christians were there as well, large Jewish community in Sarasota area, but also a lot of evangelicals, and they were one for Israel this Monday. And this is the thing that, you know, we all need to rally. This is the thing, folks. You know, Hamas is a nihilistic death cult. Okay. This is not about the political situation, whether you're on one side or another. Hamas hates the PLO. Hamas slaughtered the PLO when they took over the Gaza Strip, okay? So this is the thing, all right? This is an evil, nihilistic organization that is doing brutal, horrible things to the Jewish people. These attacks are unprecedented, and it's the worst days the Jews have seen since Shoah.
Yes, and just to add on to that, beyond what Hamas is doing to Israeli citizens, they, you know, if we want to talk a little bit more about the music festival massacre. Yeah. They murdered people from all faith traditions, all different countries from around the world. People that it's actually a peace music festival, very peaceful people, Arabs. They murdered Bedouins, Christians, so on and so forth. The atrocities also that they commit to the civilians in the Gaza Strip are unspeakable. Putting military installations in civilian buildings, encouraging civilians, encouraging youth and younger children to stay around and stick around and participate in violence, and to stay around when there's bombings going on. For their political gains, as you know, they're a terrorist organization, and they are pretty barbaric, to say the least. And you know, a lot of that, you know, for many years, people thought, you know, this is, you know, maybe a semi-functional government in the Gaza Strip, and clearly, the way that they behave, we're hearing reports of beheadings, raping, so on and so forth, is beyond any sort of apologetics that somebody could get into about how you know, you fight in a revolutionary fight, or any kind of sort of that discourse. Many of the people that were killed actually in the Gaza Strip were a very hard left-wing peace forward people that lived on those yeshuvim, on those settlements. I myself, I guess, lean a lot more to the left than the current government in place, and I'm working as well with people that were actually integral in promoting some of the protests that maybe people have been reading in the news in Israel about the judicial reforms, and everybody's gotten together and said, you know, this is an atrocity. It doesn't matter who or what you are. We need to do what we can, and that's, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of unity, of course, just the political situation in Israel is that we do have a unity government, national emergency government. They're all one at this time. The political differences are laid to aside as in this time. And this is the other thing too, folks. You know, when I was at this rally, I was taught that one of the leaders of the Jewish Federation had said that he was friends with this friend named Muhammad, and their families lived in Israel for 700 years. Okay, and apparently his son was an ambulance driver for the festival, and he was kidnapped, and he was brought into the Gaza Strip. So they're doing this to Muslims and Arabs as well. Now, I also watched a news report where this gentleman, one of his daughter was one of the places that were attacked by Hamas, and somebody got there and found his daughter's body, and he said, "Yes, thank you." He says, "I'd rather she be dead than be in Gaza right now alive. That it's much better to be dead than to be a hostage in Gaza right now."
Yes, that is definitely true. It's really, you know, truly horrific. It's, we're bombarded all the time with different things, on social media that are atrocities, and kind of unfortunately, even in the U.S., we get more and more numb to acts of violence. But you can see even from people that have seen this, and you're talking about even EMTs there, or people here that I've people that I know who or just everybody's shaken to the core of what you've seen. It's something which most people haven't seen take place. All the different kind of crimes and war crimes and crimes against humanity, really, that the government there that not the government there, the Hamas has instigated and planned and executed.
So we're waiting for Rabbi Lerner to come on, and even if he is not able to come on, I still would like for you to talk a little bit about him in the efforts that he's doing as well, and then hopefully he's able. Look, folks, David hopped on just for a few minutes. This is the thing; it's chaos there. So it would be perfectly understandable if somebody is not able to make an appointment yesterday and not able to keep it today. Completely understand, they're in the war zone. Let me just talk a little bit about Rabbi Lerner and the work that he is doing, and hopefully he will be able to join us shortly.
Sure. So I could talk about Rabbi Lerner. I don't know if Stephen, if I just sent you for a charity that I'm directly involved with as well. Rabbi Lerner is the chairman of Eretz HaKodesh, which is the ultra-Orthodox party in the World Zionist Organization. And as you mentioned, there's kind of a unity effort. They are on the ground. What I started working with, I'm friends with somebody who works in this office who connected us. They are delivering protective gear to soldiers on the front line. They're delivering clothing, they're delivering food, they're delivering medical equipment. They were in Sderot yesterday with the Prime Minister and I believe the Foreign Minister in the UK delivering equipment to soldiers. Rockets were falling, and they're kind of, everybody's really, it's a political organization and they have other budgetary needs, and really we were raising money and where their budget, everybody's kind of just moving everything towards safety and protection for the people. For that's what's going on. And they've, there's a lot of equipment that's in Israel that kind of needs to be released to the right people. What I'm working with here, and we're working also with a lot of the same people, the same organization. And you'll have the thumbnail attached, but it's a group of it's called the supportofisrael.com. We're working with everybody has different business backgrounds, from logistics to defense to medical, and we're fundraising and using all of our connections to secure supplies. We're getting calls from people on the front line. Somebody's called up, a father, a brother, a son of somebody. I had a call yesterday with the mother. Her son was called up. She's like, they need knee pads, they need bulletproof vests, they need flashlights. A lot of the reserve soldiers are given kind of rudimentary stuff, a lot of equipment that hasn't been used in a long time or outdated. And we're thinking about, somebody's brother. They want to see their brother come home. They don't want them going out in some, with the minimal protection. We want to get them the best protection so that they safely return. These aren't, we're not collecting for stuff that will be used in an offensive manner. This is all defensive material. So you're talking about ballistic helmets. You're talking about ceramic plates for bulletproof vests, cat tourniquets, which are medical supplies, batteries for flashlights, watches, so on and so forth. So everything is really, people are going out, people are leaving their families. We want them to come home safely. And we are, I haven't worked in 3 days, and I'm working with 15 other people. Nobody's, worked in 3 days. We're working 18 hours a day, getting equipment, getting export licensing, working with government officials in Israel for importing. So kind of working with Alal and other transport organizations, logistics organizations arranging flights, kind of just getting, everything over there. Everything else has been put on the side. Everything else doesn't matter right now. for at least for us, that's our mentality until, you know, we understand things are safe there. There's, you know, there's continuous breaches in the border. There's settlements still being attacked, not just by rockets, but by militants as well. And now we really know what they're capable, and not only what they're capable of, but what their intentions are. And we need to do everything we can to protect them. So that's what the support of Israel is working with. It's actually in conjunction with the Chabad of Tampa Bay. So it's a little close to you, Steve, out in Florida. A few of my really close friends are running it. We have complete transparency. There's nobody on payroll. Every cent that's donated is going directly to supplies for people. So that's really what's going on right now. So
I just talking a little bit about what's going on in Israel. We're hearing reports that Hezbollah is also launching attacks from the north. Do you know this is 12:36 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States on Thursday. What are you hearing? What's going on at this moment on the northern border?
What I'm hearing, I'm following kind of, you know, there's a couple different Telegram channels, Israeli Telegram channels. There's some open source intelligence Twitter feeds that have updates. Right now, what I've been seeing is that there's just been a lot of kind of a show maybe of strength by Hezbollah. So kind of a couple different types of rockets that they fired, showing their capabilities. I believe 2 days ago, maybe they had taken out an APC. And then there's kind of an Israeli response right now, kind of a strong response in that sort of sense, but nothing official. There's a lot of pressure, thankfully, from the US government and other international governments, warning the Hezbollah, Syrian government, Iranian government to kind of stay out of the fray. Who knows? Anything can happen. There's always a tipping point where there can be a mistake. We pray, you know, obviously that doesn't happen. Senseless violence is not needed in this world. There's enough pain, you know. We rather focus on, you know, better things in life. And that's really what I'm hearing about with the northern border. It seems like every day there's a couple of rockets fired. Okay. There's a little bit of a response, so there's a little cat and mouse. But yeah, hopefully things will stay relatively calm there, relative, you know, to what's going on. The thousands of rockets that have already been shot from the Gaza Strip. So, you know, hopefully that doesn't escalate into a multi-front battlefield, because there will be many, many civilians on all sides of the conflict who will suffer immensely. And, you know, everything that we do, and I hope everybody that's listening, you know, and praying for people's safety, is, you know, for everybody's safety, as that's really the outcome. Nobody wants war. I mean, maybe some people are saying things in the heat of the moment, but everybody understands that there's mothers and fathers and daughters and sisters and brothers who just want to live their life peacefully in the Gaza Strip, in the Golan Heights, in Syria, in Lebanon. And, you know, that's what, you know, we're really hoping for and praying for, is a de-escalation on as many fronts as possible. Right now, obviously, the situation with Hamas is they have, and Steve, I think I can send you the list actually, but there's over 100, possibly over 200 people that they have kidnapped there. So that's obviously a very difficult situation. Nobody really knows how that's going to unfold. But that is, you know, really we're trying to keep it. What I'm hearing is that they're trying to keep it into one front battlefield. This way they could focus on resolving all of that, getting people home, getting rid of the infrastructure that created this, and hopefully also, I mean, I can't speak for anybody in the government, but hopefully creating a mentality for the people in Gaza to be like, enough is enough with Hamas, and move towards a more tolerant and less barbaric, overthrowing the regime and putting in place better players to kind of work together for a peaceful, you know, resolution of the conflict.
You know, and this is the thing, you know, there was a period of time where we thought that the Israeli government thought that Hamas wanted to play nice a little bit, if you will, and that they were in the process of getting about 20,000 workers to be able to basically kind of have like visas, if you will, work visas to work in Israel. And so they really thought like, okay, it looks like they really need money more than anything and to revitalize their economy. So the government spent this laborious process to really work this out. This program was about to be instituted. Now, a lot of people think that was a ruse the entire time, that they knew full well that this was just a game they were playing, apparently. And that's just so saddened because people were so hopeful that this program would be maybe a step in the right direction, but just to show the kind of mentality of Hamas, that they were using the goodwill of the Israeli government and Israeli people to actually hide their nefarious their goals.
Yes, yes, and there's a lot of talking as well about the U.S. government, which has been very integral over here in bringing the Saudi Arabians and the Israelis together to stabilize the Middle East, which actually included that Israel would have to have a lot of concessions for the Palestinian people, and obviously all of that's now in turmoil. So when you think about what they've done to their own people and how they've used, yes, as you mentioned, I think it was about 18,000 work permits that were negotiated, or they're just started maybe in the past 2 weeks, and kind of how they use that as a cover or in response to the possibility of economic help for civilians and stability. And you see, what their motives and how their political agendas need to be executed instead, which are through violence versus, any other form of peace or sort of creating of goodwill to kind of resolve, so many of the outstanding issues that are happening in the Gaza Strip currently.
Yeah. So, and of course, now the big concern is that with the war in Ukraine, there's actually an ammunition shortage. That there's a grave concern that you guys are helping fund to get for defensive purposes, which they're going to need even more if there is going to be ammunition shortages. Hopefully this will be resolved soon. But and of course, apparently there was even ammunition that Israel had that they gave up to the Ukraine as well. Maybe just talk about just that whole situation as well.
Yeah, so the U.S. Army keeps a lot of munitions in Israel. Israel has been, I don't have to really say this again, but we're talking about it, but Israel's been America's preeminent ally in the Middle East since the day it was founded. Harry Truman was the first president and government official in the world to ratify the state of Israel recognize the state of Israel as a country. To quote President Biden, when he was actually a senator, I believe in the 90s, there's a speech which is famous by us, where he said, if there were no Israel in the Middle East, we'd have to invent it. That's how important Israel is to the United States' interest. So with that being said, the U.S. government has a relationship with the Israeli government in regards to storing munitions in Israel. Obviously, the Israeli defense establishments and the American establishments work together very closely, developing the Iron Dome system, which is a rocket system which protects civilians from rocket attacks. That was built with Israeli and American collaboration. David Sling, which is another defense system that's all built with collaboration. And during the war in Ukraine, the Israeli government, I believe, has also sent Merkava tanks, but has been providing a lot of support to Ukraine. And people shouldn't forget about the conflict that's going on over there. And that's kind of another problem of like this idea where they talk about there's this axis of, and I don't want to really kind of use that word because it's, there's a lot of, with the Iraq war, so on and so forth, where it's abused, but there's kind of seems to be multiple different interests to take away the focus of the American government and the American manufacturing capacity for ammunition, basic munitions, into a multi-front battlefield. So what I've been hearing, the Israeli government, obviously, the defense industry there has a lot of munitions stored. They understand there could always be a conflict that happens. That being said, there definitely is a dwindling global supply for, what let's say they expected to use a certain amount, that they have an additional percentage extra. That's definitely being drawn down currently. There hasn't been a ground invasion yet. Thankfully, I've been hearing whispers of a ground invasion in the next 2 days. So kind of then we'll have an understanding of those sort of munitions. I know they're requesting kind of from the Air Force, different sort of bombs to clear out military installations. Yes, and all of that's kind of being drawn down because of what they've sent out to Ukraine, what the U.S. is obviously supporting the Ukrainian war effort. And that is another issue, hopefully, that we won't have to, where it won't get really tough. So
yeah,
we'll see how the conflict kind of unfolds. There's been a full declaration of war. There's my friends who are on the front line seem to be getting ready to go in to Gaza, but till they actually go in, and when they go in, they're waiting for the green light from their intelligence agencies and the Air Force to clear out certain spaces so that they can go in, minimize casualties. And we could kind of talk about that more if you want, how they operate when they go in. I'm not sure if you saw, but they, relative to how many other large militaries or militaries in general operate globally, they try to minimize casualties. Not just because that's in their operating motive is really to just take care of the issues and be very much the Israeli Defense Force. It's a defensive force. There's obviously a lot of people who, beyond the rhetoric of what's going on there, which is very complicated, and what I've seen a lot of people that actually just do not like the existence of Jewish people and a Jewish nation. And every civilian that unfortunately gets caught in the line of fire, even if it's within the Geneva Accords, how they're operating, there's a lot of heat and flack for it, and that heat and flack ends up costing lives because they have to operate in a much safer manner. They give people heads up, so there's time for combatants to escape. And it's a problem. It's a real problem. So that's.
So we're still. Have you, just by chance, AJ, have you heard from Rabbi Lerner yet?
I had shot him a text message. I can try to give him a phone call if you like.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to put yourself on mute, and I can just kind of talk to the audience while you're trying to get a hold of him. So, folks, we're gonna have links in the description here, and we're trying to reach Rabbi Lerner, who's a very prominent rabbi. As a matter of fact, we had already made the thumbnail. Anthony, my producer. We're also just letting you know too, we're having some issues here with my YouTube channel. I'm not able to. I've been locked out of it. So this was the thumbnail, and that's the rabbi right there in the middle, and that's AJ in there, the latest from Israel. And so basically, folks might ask, why are you doing this, Steve? Right? Like why you're doing Mormon book reviews, and of course this channel is much more than that. And so why are you doing this? And I said, and you have to understand, when I woke up on Friday, I was I posted my last video at 6:00 Friday night, Eastern time. So I always do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And I remember thinking, okay, I got the weekend, I can take some time off. And then at 9:00 in the morning, I wake up and see on the news that Israel's at war. And at that moment, I was like, uh-oh. So I contacted Nehemiah of Nehemiah's Wall YouTube channel and asked him if he was okay. He got back to me right away, and he basically said, okay, so AJ, and so basically he said, do you want to come on my program and talk about what's happening in the situation in Israel? So here on Saturday morning, I'm live on his channel, doing a live feed while he's giving us the latest updates from Israel. And Nehemiah had gone into his bomb shelter already 3 times that day. And so now, I guess, in one sense, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. And I really feel like my friendship with AJ is very vital here. I reached out to him Sunday. And
we have Rabbi Lerner on the line. He's just connecting.
Right.
He's connecting now. Rabbi Lerner, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, if you can
Let me
turn on
try
your
to
video.
figure out. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep talking while you're doing this. We're just producing on the
Hold
fly.
on. How do I know. I'm trying to figure out. I'm on an iPhone.
Mhm.
Put on the video.
So we're
Yeah. 1 second, guys.
Yep, no problem. We'll just talk amongst ourselves in the meantime. So AJ, talk a
Oh,
little bit.
there we go. We got Rabbi Lerner here.
Okay, we
No,
need
that's not Rabbi Lerner.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, but we got the video though.
There we go. Okay.
Now you go. It's not so good. I'm in a car. I'm returning now from a visit to Samaria, where there are many, many communities who are concerned. Okay, I'm here, but in the back, the car is, there's no light in the car, so you're not going to see me.
That's
Where
okay.
they are concerned and we are concerned because these communities in Samaria and Judea are now, the problem is they're not protected. Their security patrol people have been drafted. So those that were 25, 30, 35, and they were security are now on the front. So therefore, we now have 50-year-olds who are former IDF soldiers, but they're a little older, protecting the community. And we discovered that they are not prepared. Okay, we just brought them 20 ceramic vests, bulletproof vests. We'll buy them other stuff, which I can't say publicly. You'll use your imagination. And we're out there trying to give them support, moral support, physical support, security support, tactical support, in the best way that we can. Because if, God forbid, something happens in the community, then the army is busy with the army. They're busy with on the south and the north. So it's extremely important that we give them the support that we.
Yes, very extremely important. So, Rabbi, you're just breaking up a little bit, but I think the message that you're telling us comes in loud and clear. I just want to know if it looks like we're getting you back on there. Rabbi, would you just tell us can you tell us what it's like to be boots on the ground, seeing what you're seeing? Maybe describe to my audience, what does your world that's turned upside down look like right now?
Okay, so I'm in Jerusalem, basically. In Jerusalem, we're not on the front lines. Yes, we're getting air raid sirens, and yes, we're going into our rooms, and yes, we see overhead the jets, but we're not feeling the pain and I guess the fear that communities up north and down south are feeling. To tell you that 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 funerals are going on in the course of the week, I must say that there's probably nobody in Israel who doesn't have a family member, a friend, a cousin, who doesn't have an individual that was killed or knows somebody who is taken as prisoner, or what do you want to call them? It's not a prisoner of war. What they've done is unspeakable. Let me give you behind me, the prime minister speaking to the Israeli population. Let me share with you a story that if I won't get through without crying. There's a family whose 14-year-old daughter was missing. And we should never be able to imagine what was going through his mind. He was informed today that they found her body. His comment was, thank God she was killed. Obviously, if she was alive, he wouldn't wish that. But his comment was, thank God she was killed. Because the alternative, we've learned, could be worse.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a father saying that?
Yeah, just so you know, Rabbi, we were actually talking about that earlier that very same situation. We were just talking about that. It's just a terrible thing to say that it'd be better to be dead than to be alive in Gaza right now as a hostage.
Because they've seen what these people have done. The burial societies are trying to bury babies. How do you bury a baby when on one side of the room is decapitated baby heads, and the other side of the room are bodies? Trying to put together the two so they can bury them in one location. I mean, funerals. I saw it today. I was watching funeral of two brothers. It's difficult to fathom. But on the other hand, the soldiers are warriors going into battle, proud of who they are, knowing why they're going into battle. The Israeli soldiers don't go into battle to kill. They go into battle to defend. They go into battle to defend their homeland, their homes, their families, contrary to the enemy. So everybody has a feeling. Everybody who's not in the army is participating. Excuse me. My wife is baking, cooking to send meals to the front. People are cooking and baking to send meals to their families that have been they're not home. You know, families forget about the kibbutzim that have been destroyed, which we can't forget. But there are families that can't go home. They're too close to the border. Okay, they're being evacuated. How many hotels can you find? Strangers, and the strangers are welcoming them. Our community is like, there's no fights here. Everybody has one goal: to serve each other.
Yeah. Yeah, to serve each other. Now you're breaking up a little bit, Rabbi, but if we get you back on, I want to ask you one final question. In addition to the organization that I'm sorry, you're breaking up, but if you can hear me, once you get back online again, what can, besides support your organization that we'll have links in the description for, what other things can evangelical Christians, Mormons, Latter-day Saints, and other people of other faith traditions, and even secular people, what else can we do to help, in addition to helping your organization and other fine organizations that we talked about with AJ about, what other things that can we do to support your people?
Number one, be educated. Learn what happened. As painful as it is, learn what happened. It was on a festival, a Sabbath, a festival day. Okay, these people, the savages came in. Learn what happened. There's no excuse. There's no rationale for this. Okay, and speak out when other people say it wasn't so bad, you deserved it. 6-month-old babies didn't deserve this, right? There was a festival, a peace festival of 1,000, I don't know how many young people who supported the two-state solution, the Palestinians, right? They were, half of them are gone, decimated, right? So don't tell me, so we have to learn. So when people come up and say, we got to support the Palestinians, the Hamas, someone has to be able to say, this is unbelievable. It can't be accepted. They have to know. And take pictures of these babies with you and say, this is what you're supporting. Okay? The Israeli soldiers are fighting the battle. The rest of the world has to fight the PR battle, the immoral battle. Okay? So be educated. Okay? I don't know where your leadership is. Call your local Israeli counselor and ask them to be put on the mailing list. And they're sending out weekly or daily reports. Okay? Log into the Jerusalem Post or some of the other papers that present from Israel. Yes, support what you can. Okay, we're raising millions. We're trying to raise millions of dollars to be able to support the soldiers, to support the community settlements, help out those families who have been removed from their homes and we don't know when they're going back. Okay, but people have to understand this is a battle of right and of good. This is a battle for the soul of human beings. And it's not going to stop in Israel. Right? They have whatever these terrorists have, these ISIS people have, they have goals. And it's not too, you and I are not too far away from where it's going to be. So we got to be on guard wherever you are. Okay? And the anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, we have to speak out against, because today it's anti-Zionism. Tomorrow it'll be anti-biblical values. Right? It'll be anti everything you and I, we all believe in. Biblical values, basic social stuff. Okay? Things that we teach our kids, we teach our families, we grow up with, that are in the books behind you. Right? That's going to be next on the list. So we all have to be on guard. We all have to realize this is our battle. Okay? Find a charity that's working in Israel. Okay? Do a good deed. Say an extra prayer. Do a good deed. Give me a second. I'm going to give you a website where you can go on the website and find out the name of a soldier. And take the name of a soldier and do a good deed. I'm going to go off for a second. I need to find the website.
Okay.
Shmira. The website is Shmira, which means safety. SHMIRA project.com. Shmira, SHMIRA project.com.
Okay. Well, we will have
Okay.
it linked in the description.
Take a name.
Okay.
If you can, our website is Eretz HaKodesh, the Holy Land. ERETZHAKODESH.org. Eretz HaKodesh, the Holy Land. There'll be opportunities to contribute if some of your members wish to do so. And every dollar, everybody involved is volunteer. The web host is not charging us. The credit card is not charging us. Everybody's participating. But there's so much. And again, I think it's extremely important that, as difficult as it is, your listenership should pay attention to what actually happened. Okay? To 1,800, 1,700, and the numbers are going up, were murdered. Okay? They were lined up and shot in the back. Okay? Their bodies were cut up. Women were raped and worse, and then killed. Okay, so these are what's going on. And I think it's extremely important that, again, we all stay vigilant, educate ourselves what's going on, and speak out when somebody starts making comparisons between I don't know what and I don't know what. Okay, let's remember for a moment. Arik Sharon pulled out of Gaza how many years ago? 20 years ago, maybe less. The Israelis haven't been in Gaza. They don't control Gaza. They don't rule Gaza. They're not in Gaza. That's Hamas. So don't come back and say the Israelis are treating the Gazans. We're not there. We left at a price. Take it. Make your own country. Do something with it. All we got was with rockets and terror attacks. So everybody has to remember, Gaza has not been in Israel's control for 20 years. I don't know how many years. Right? So don't blame Israel for what we're not there. We gave them the chance. Israel gave them the chance. Do something with it. Hamas took the money and used it for weapons. Let's remember where the rocket launchers are. The rocket launchers are in schools and in communities. They're hiding behind children. They're hiding behind families. They're the ones terrorizing their own membership. So if we become educated vis-a-vis who Hamas is, okay, we'll have a better understanding of the battle that Israel is faced with, and that Israel must complete. If people are pressuring now to have a ceasefire, so what do we accomplish? We have to destroy them to the core, that they can never come back. And this is a battle. It's a battle for everybody. This is a battle against good and evil. And maybe evil is too nice a word to say on these people.
Well, Rabbi, I just want to thank you for taking the time. I know these are desperate times for your people, and that you are doing. We all need to do deeds, like you said. Do a deed, and it's all in our own small way. We can all participate for the cause of humanity and civilization to do good, and that's how we can counter evil as well. And so, Rabbi, I want to be respectful of your time, but I'd like to just turn it over to you if you have any final words that you would like to say to an evangelical audience, a secular audience, and an audience of Latter-day Saints, also called Mormons.
First of all, I want to apologize. I was supposed to be available at 7, but I had an emergency meeting in Samaria with the leader of the Samaritan Council and 1, 2, 3, 4 very, very, very senior generals, lieutenant colonels, whatever, of the army, discussing what we can do to protect them. So I apologize for not being in a better location. I'm in the car.
Understood.
Second, thank you, all those listening, for your care and concern, your feelings and emotions. It strengthens us. It's appreciative, and we all have the same. We all have the same value systems. We believe, even if you're secular, you're not watching your show if you don't believe. I don't believe there's a non-secular, the non-believers. Okay, and they're attacking everything we believe in, the biblical, whatever holy books we have, based in the Bible, whatever the case may be. That's what they want to destroy. They want to destroy our way of life. Israel happens to be front and center. Remember, the country of Israel is less than the size of the state of New Jersey. If you put in a map of the Middle East, you have 50 Arab countries. They got everything, right? But this piece of land, because of what it stands for, of who was there, what the biblical history is what they hate. They're teaching their kids at young age to destroy, to kill, to murder. Okay, that's not what you and I believe in. So number one, we have to remain moral and believing. On the other hand, we have to understand that there is evil in this world that must be destroyed, because it starts in the Middle East, but ends on 9/11. Okay, or 9/11. Should never happen again. But take a look for a second. What is the population of Israel versus the population of America? Okay, how many times more is America? 100? I don't know the number. Right?
Hundreds of times more.
But if 2,000, okay, so if 2,000 Israelis were killed this past Saturday, can you imagine what it really value is? 200,000. Again, I don't know the comparison, but take the comparison: 2,000 versus add 100 or 150, whatever it is. Can you imagine if the number is 200,000 people killed in one day? That's how it feels in Israel.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody has a cousin or relative. We live in that way. We're not, but the bottom line is, it's God's country. God has a reason. I don't understand it. Maybe one day we will. Okay, God has a reason, but we're not leaving. We're staying. Okay. If you remember, there was discussions of the judicial reform going on many months. We're going to serve, not serve in the army. Guess what? Every Air Force pilot showed up. Every reservist showed up. You know.
That's right. Yeah, they all showed up, and of course, with the whole judiciary
I was there.
Okay, we want to thank you.
Yeah, it's all history.
It's all history. You are united. You are now a national government is all united, one for the cause. The people are coming together. The people here in America are one, unified amongst the faith community. I was at a rally in Sarasota, Florida, Monday night, met with the leader of the Jewish Federation of Sarasota, and they had some national leaders there. It was a packed house full of thousands of people, and many, many Christians and Jews were there, united in one for Israel. So we just want to thank you, Rabbi, that we
Thank you.
love you.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And may God bless Israel, and may God bless America.
Thank you, Rabbi. We really appreciate everything. And so you can just you can hang up or whatever you want to do. I know you're probably heading to another meeting, another thing, and so we're grateful for your time today, sir. So AJ,
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
AJ, I just want to thank you so much for blessing me and my audience, our listeners and viewers here at Mormon Book Reviews. I want to thank you so much for your friendship. You've sent me, my phone's been dinging like crazy, as you might imagine. Some of it is you sending the links to me that we're going to have in the description for all the different organizations that we discussed in today's episode. Hopefully I'll be able to get back into my YouTube account by 3 o'clock today. So I will hope and pray to have this episode uploaded and released at our normal time, 4 p.m. Mountain Time, here on Thursday, October 12th. It's now 1:11 p.m. local here, Eastern Time, 11:11 in Utah. AJ, I just wanted to ask you, was there any maybe final words you would like to say? Maybe also just kind of give your reaction to the rabbi's statements and conversation.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me on. I will also be sending you some addresses, which we have if people want to send actual physical, and some contacts if people want to drop off actual equipment, safety, medical, so on and so forth, in Florida, in New York. I don't think I have somebody in Utah. I have a colleague that's based out of Utah. I'm not sure of the shipping situation, but possibly in Los Angeles as well, which I guess is pretty close, relatively. So not just, as I mentioned before, monetary donations, but if people have, sometimes you have something which is, worth what you can buy, but if you have it in your home already, sitting around or whatever it is, and you could be putting it to good use. I do know many Mormons are instructed to prepare for things like this. So do with that idea as you please. I want to, first of all, obviously thank you for having me on. I'm also very thankful for the Mormon and ex-Mormon community. I know it might sound funny or whatever it is, but I find it's been very therapeutic and just great in my growth as a human being. Being exposed to Mormonism and ex-Mormonism, and the discourse has really opened up my eyes to many different facets of life, and ways to reflect on my own journey. And a bunch of my friends as well. We're big fans. There's so much that we have in common. I told my wife a long time ago, and I tell people when they come over for Shabbat meals, like, we're basically the same. I feel like I have almost grew up as a Mormon, more of a hard, ultra-religious Mormon. There's much more in common that we have than many other people that I've met in my life. More stuff in common than even people that grew up more modern than me and reform and conservative. So I'm very grateful for that, and grateful for people also who are on their journey for ex-Mormonism. I grew up a lot more religious than I am now. I'm still what I consider very religious, definitely not ultra Orthodox, and a lot of kind of the questions, the faith crises, the pressures, the internal mental struggle is very, very similar, shockingly similar to a level which, I thought, and some friends, we thought we're this small community of people that grew up like this and want to change a little bit in either direction. People that grew up, friends that grew up secular, have become more religious, or more religious and less religious. And it's just been, kind of eye-opening. Beyond, obviously, I think the story of Mormonism is a story about America. And a lot of, my ancestors that came to America came in a similar time period that when Mormonism was formed, a little bit later. But so much of ultra-Orthodoxy is influenced by, 19th century, 20th century Christianity. We all have similar faiths, similar customs, similar ideas. And I think there's been an influence on both sides on how people act and mentality, so on and so forth. So I'm very grateful for the Mormon community and the ex-Mormon community as well, specifically. So that's really, I know that's a little bit off topic, but we are Mormon Book Reviews. I actually do have a book from the Church of Latter-day Saints over here. It's a kid's book called The New Zion. What I was going to say is, we have to protect the old Zion and the new Zion as well. Without an old one, there's no new one. So just something that I've been thinking about a lot. And in regards to the work that's being done, really my reaction to the rabbi is he's on the front line. I don't wish upon anybody to see some of the things that he must have seen recently. Their organization, as I mentioned before, and as he had mentioned, there's a lot of different political things that are going on in Israel, and everybody's kind of put that to the side and focus on that. I know the rabbi, and I'll send you some further links, but he's worked closely with many large evangelical churches and ministers, faith-related matters. So if you're kind of more religious leaning Christian, he's worked hand in hand with many of your leaders to lobbying in the government, so on and so forth. And now this is what he's doing the full time, is really helping the Zionist project in the way that he understands it. And what he really said about remembering it and knowing what to do, I could just tell you a story. My wife was, I live actually in the Lower East Side in Manhattan, which is a historically Jewish neighborhood. Jews have been living here since pre-Revolutionary War. Kind of a couple blocks away from me is the oldest Jewish cemetery in New York, which was actually a fortification during the Revolutionary War. This neighborhood, my family's been in since the 1880s. And so this is a historical Jewish neighborhood, and my wife was out with my daughter at her dance classes, and there's somebody there who was, they're talking about the situation. The person's like, "Oh, I don't care. And somebody's trying to reason with them, like, don't you realize like what is going on? There's an apathy. There's some people in the progressive community, which I consider myself part of, who think it's cool or whatever it is to be fully callous, and that is just immoral. And I could sit down and talk to anybody about this, but get educated. If somebody says something, so you know what to say. This is a human atrocity that happened beyond anything else, beyond the politics of anybody's politics. And don't be idle. If somebody says something, obviously be very respectful. Some people just say things out of anger or to trigger a response. Try to, get educated and stay educated and stay informed, as you said. Like that's really so important. Things that happened this especially in the day of social media. The massacre at the festival happened on Saturday, Sunday. There's already conspiracy stuff being passed around about nobody saw the bodies, nobody saw this, nobody saw the decapitation, like crazy stuff and crazy conspiracies. And that's what they are. They are crazy conspiracies. People feed off of that. I think social media algorithms feed off of that, and they're poison to the brain. So stay educated, stay aware. And there's a lot of traumatic stuff. We've seen a lot of traumatic stuff. You go on social media also, take care of yourself. I can't go on Instagram anymore. You've seen, for some reason it's not blocked, but you see there's all these atrocities. You're looking at it, so many times a day. It's traumatic. Take some time for yourself. If you see these stuff and you're being distressed, take some time to breathe, to go for a walk, do something totally different, put your phone down, touch some grass, as they say. But it's very, very important. As my daughter's friend's father, his extended family, his mom's ex-boyfriend's entire family was slaughtered in one of the kibbutzim. He said, "I can't sleep. I go to sleep for 20 minutes and I have a nightmare that I'm being chased down by people in golf carts and pickup trucks. People can't sleep." 1 second. And just make sure to take time to heal yourself as well. because these are very, very distressing. And it's very important to take care of yourself in these times so that you could actually have the strength to do something and do something good. And as the rabbi mentioned as well, pray for somebody. There's that great website where you could pray for somebody specific, somebody's safety. Think about somebody's safety, positive energy. If you're not religious or not spiritual, just the idea of soldiers knowing that there's somebody thinking about them gives them a lot of strength. And that's really, I mean, that's really it. I hope it's going to go on for too long.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much, AJ, for helping put this together. You know, these two wonderful people that were able to come on and talk about what's going on and how we can help them. We're going to have links in the description for all these things. This was, folks, it's kind of crazy because I was on the phone with YouTube trying to get access back to my channel, and then we had to hop on this meeting. Me and my producer were on the phone trying desperately to try to get this resolved. I don't know what's going on. So if all goes according to plan, I should be releasing this video today on October 12th. If it's another day, it's because we ran into issues. But as soon as it's possible to get this released, at a minimum, I'll try to have it released by 6 p.m. Eastern time today. And I also have an interview that I taped at a Christian college yesterday with a mutual friend, Chris, that you helped arrange as well. And we're going to talk about his organization, the Christian Agency for Israel, and the wonderful work that they are doing. And I really feel like, you know, this is the time that we don't, you know, it's a real clear, if you, I just tell people, I say, listen, you know, if you have, I ask one simple question to somebody who would like to come on my program to talk about this. And I say, the question I have for you is, do you support Israel's right to exist? If you give the right answer, and you don't hedge on it or hem and haw, and you just say, yes, of course, then I want to hear your perspective as well, even if it's a little different than AJ's and the rabbis. But if you can't answer that question in the affirmative, I can't give you a platform. Sorry, I won't. Thank you, AJ.
My pleasure. And just to note on the end there, and beyond that, you give the right to human beings, children, women and children, people that believe in peace, to exist and live their life and not be callously murdered. That's, you know, taken even to the next level.
Sure.
And I think,
yeah.
So thank you so much.
Humanity. Do you support humanity? Yes. Yeah. If you to hem and haw on that one, then I don't want to have.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you putting this together, and God bless you, and thank you so much. And we hope we could do some great things together. As you said, the links are going to be below for a bunch of different stuff, monetary, physical. You can donate to any of the organizations, our organizations that are going to be linked there, Christian organizations. I'm sure possibly the Latter-day, you know, the church has, you know, a presence in Jerusalem. However it is, wherever, it doesn't matter. If you're helping, you're helping. So thank you so much.
And I just want to, just a reminder, folks, that God will use whatever vessels are afforded to him. And just remember, it was John DeLynn of Mormon Stories and my appearance on that program that brought us together. God works in mysterious ways, my friend. I love you.
Yes, yes. You too. Thank you so much. Much love.
So links in the description. Shalom, everyone. There's links in the description to everything we talked about today. I'm not going to leave any description, nothing in the links about my channel financially supporting me. I'm just not doing that on this video. Go to the links in the description there. This is a special episode of MBR here, Mormon Book Reviews. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. MBR is, we're covering this because I feel God wants us to do it. He brought this all together. We're running into technical difficulties. I sometimes wonder, you know, some people might think that's the adversary. Don't know. I'm not a theologian, but it is an interesting journey that we're on. And I want to thank you all for listening. And let's all pray and bless Israel together. Let's be united, Latter-day Saints.
Amen.
The evangelical Christians, atheists. Let's be one for Israel today. Shalom, everybody. And thank you.
Shalom. Thank you so much.